Emily thought she'd escaped the house on Sycamore Lane, but the silence clung to her like damp rot. The motel she fled to was a crumbling husk, flickering fluorescent lights, mold-stained curtains, and a bed that smelled of despair. She hadn't slept in weeks, her eyes hollowed out, her skin clammy. The memory of that rotary phone, its relentless ringing at 3:13 a.m., haunted her. She'd left everything behind, but the silence was worse now, a suffocating void that pressed against her eardrums, whispering that something was coming. 3 months after she fled, it found her. She was working the graveyard shift at a greasy diner, the kind where truckers chain-smoked and the coffee tasted like tar. The payphone on the wall, a relic coated in grime, hadn't worked in decades. Until it rang. The sound was unmistakable, that shrill, mechanical scream from Sycamore Lane. The diner was empty, the jukebox dead. But the other waitress, Marla, didn't react, just kept wiping counters like nothing was wrong. Emily's hands shook as she approached the phone. The air grew thick, heavy with the stench of something metallic and sour. She lifted the receiver. Static roared, a storm of white noise that felt like it was clawing inside her skull. Then the voice, raspy, wet, not human. "You left us." The words slithered through the static, followed by a low chuckle that sounded like it came from a throat full of gravel. She dropped the phone, the cord snapping taut as it swung. Marla glanced over, frowning. "That thing's busted, hun. You hearing things?" Emily didn't answer. She ran to the motel, barricading the door with a chair, a table, anything she could drag. At 3:13 a.m. the motel phone rang, a rotary model, its cord severed, sitting on a nightstand she hadn't noticed before. The ringing was deafening, vibrating through the walls, the floor, her bones. She didn't pick it up. She couldn't. But the voice came anyway, seeping from the walls like damp rot. "You can't run, Emily." The lights flickered. The room grew colder, her breath clouding in front of her. She heard it then, a slow, dragging sound from the hallway outside, something heavy, wet, scraping against the carpet. The door rattled, not like a knock, but like something testing the frame, clawing at the edges. She clutched a kitchen knife stolen from the diner and backed into the corner, eyes fixed on the door. The ringing stopped. The silence was worse. The calls followed her. At the diner, at gas stations, even in her car when the battery was dead. Always at 3:13 a.m. Always that voice, sometimes whispering her name, sometimes laughing, a sound like drowning in mud. She stopped answering, but the phones rang louder, longer, until the sound felt like it was bleeding from her ears. She saw things in the corners of her vision, shadows that moved when she blinked, hands reaching from under tables, eyes glinting in mirrors that vanished when she turned. She tried to leave town. She drove for hours, the GPS spitting nonsense, the radio vomiting static. Every road twisted back to Sycamore Lane. The house loomed in her headlights, its windows black and glistening like wet teeth. The front door was open, just a crack, beckoning. She didn't want to go back, but her car died, the engine choking into silence. Her phone, cracked, offline, lit up and rang. She answered, her hands moving against her will. "You're home now," the voice said, and the line went dead. The air around her thickened, heavy with that metallic stench. She heard footsteps behind her, slow, dragging, impossibly close. She stumbled out of the car, her legs carrying her toward the house. The street lamp exploded in a shower of sparks. plunging the street into darkness. Inside, the house was wrong. The walls pulsed, slick and glistening, like the inside of a throat. The rotary phone sat on its table, unplugged, its black plastic gleaming with an oily sheen. It didn't ring. It didn't need to. The shadows moved, coiling around her feet, cold and sticky. The footsteps came from upstairs, deliberate, dragging something that squelched with every step. The air vibrated with whispers, not words, but sounds, like 1,000 voices chewing on her name. The phone's receiver lifted itself, floating, twisting in the air. The voice didn't come from the phone. It came from the walls, the floor, the ceiling, from inside her head. "You never left," it said, and the shadows laughed, a wet, choking sound. The footsteps stopped at the top of the stairs. Something was there, just out of sight. Its shape wrong, too tall, too thin, too many limbs. The walls pulsed faster, dripping something black and viscous. Emily screamed, but the silence swallowed it. The lights went out, and the thing at the top of the stairs began to descend.